have you with us on your free download of your iHeartRadio app. We are worldwide. And of course, we live stream on a Saturday. Cameras are set up in studio. You can join us on Florida Talk Real Estate's Facebook page, or maybe on their YouTube page as well. That's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC. Again, YouTube and Facebook streaming live. Great to have you with us. And of course, you're more than welcome to be a part of the program too. Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, dial it up. 877-927-6969. Our producer extraordinary, Jimothy, he will get you going there. That's the first voice you will hear, the melodious tones of my friend Jimothy. How are you, my brother?
Oh, I'm mighty fine. Good morning, Johnny. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Thank you very much for asking. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And Happy New Year. Hi, everybody. Your pal, Johnny C. Your air traffic control. Let's get you started lineup on a Saturday morning. Always a pleasure to say good morning to Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach, absolute finest. It's Ross Komarinetz. Looking very festive on this Saturday.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Good to see you, buddy.
You too.
Always
Hope everybody had a good Christmas.
It was nice. I hope you get some details of yours here soon, too.
Okay.
Mike Rauch is with us. He's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, also looking very festive.
That's right. Ross brought in festive outfits for
He
everybody.
did, and I'm share with
You
you.
should see my pants. Yeah,
Well,
Thank you.
I hope you get into those details a little later, too.
you can look on Facebook Live.
Oh, well. Talk
Good
about
morning.
Talk about a tease, huh?
Merry and happy.
Well, very nice to see you, my
Yeah.
friend. And of course, always a pleasure to introduce our fearless leader. He runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations, he finds the Florida Home Pros team. And my guy, Jimmy D. Jim and Paola, how you be?
I'm doing great, guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Is it Happy Kwanzaa already?
What's
Is that already happened?
on Tuesday?
Okay, I guess I never know. I've already missed that holiday. I don't know how it popped up. And I never.
Happy.
Yeah, is it Happy Kwanzaa? Is
I don't
it
know.
Happy Kwanzaa?
I don't know.
I don't think it's Merry Kwanzaa.
Yeah, we'll go
Happy Kwanzaa.
Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And today's National Bacon Day. I heard that on the way down here. Today's National Bacon Day.
All right.
Interesting.
Nothing burps better than bacon.
And nothing better than bacon.
I had bacon last night. Wrapped around a jalapeno.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, yellow.
On a steak.
No stick.
No steak.
So everybody's holidays are good?
Yes, fantastic. How about you?
You're good. So do you have both your Christmas trees still up?
Oh, nothing's changed in my house.
So how many Christmas trees do you have up right now?
We only have one tree up in our
Oh,
house.
only one
Yeah,
this
we
year?
normally we have downsized dramatically. Normally there's like
Yeah.
5 or 6 in our house.
No,
Yeah.
I thought 3.
Well, 3 in the living room.
So
Just
now
the
that
living
you've downsized, what do you do with all the extra Christmas gifts? I mean, Christmas ornaments.
room. They sit.
They just sit in
Yeah, they sit in a box
You take
now.
your best of your best and use that.
Yeah, we have our like pride tree now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it boils down to.
That's pretty cool. Did you guys have a good Christmas too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We did a Christmas Eve. We hosted that. So we had a big, probably 20, 25 people over, 20, 23, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah. Had some, I spent the whole time, frantically cooking.
Yeah, barbecue.
Making sure that the food came out and was delicious. So I'm kind of like, as the party gets going, I'm still cooking.
Right.
Right. I try to do it. Not a lot of it's in the kitchen. Some of it's out by the smoker, by the grills.
Mhm.
But I got stuff going in the oven, and then I got to carve meat. And,
It's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's good. But once we find the dinner is served and we sit down, then I can relax and enjoy the party.
How about you, Ross? Did you have a good?
Yeah, it was good.
holiday?
Went up and got to see my dad on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day I had it with my mom and everybody, and played in the pool. Welcome to Florida, jumping in the pool on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
It was good.
It's been nice living up north by where we live. Those storms last week, they were awesome to look at on the water.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it just felt like I was just
We actually lucked out on
like a
Christmas
private
Eve.
show.
Mine.
Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, the weather was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Right, we had 2 days with no rain. Seems like it's been raining a lot. But I remember last Christmas, it was freezing, cold. Right,
Yes.
It's
Oh,
like
no,
in
I
the
didn't
30s.
remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it?
30s. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting a little revisit of it right now. Not quite as bad, but
Not as bad.
this night, last night I remember closing the doors up, about midnight. It's like, it is freezing in here. Oh, it's 53. All right. That's why. Yeah.
It was 54 this morning when I got in the car, and I loved it. I was just like enjoyed it.
It's just not quite it's not the bundled up mode when you're trying to get in the bed. You're like, why is it so cold? Oh, it's because the house is open and it's 53. That's why.
I don't think I could ever live up north full time anymore because getting out after being in your comfy bed and then trying to get out in the morning, impossible
That's
for me.
rough.
I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's
I
rough.
just I don't need the job that bad.
Not today.
Not today. You guys got to work without me. So I like living down here. So the little bit of cool weather we have right now is awesome. So we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to do the end of the year predictions. So this is this time last year, maybe a month earlier. Man, the economists got it so right last year.
Half of it.
No, almost all of them, right? They all said that we were going to have 3 interest rate cuts by now.
Oh.
Awesome.
Nailed it.
And our interest rates are like 5. Awesome.
We would have been talking about how bad the interest rates had increased through the year, right?
Yeah.
3 to 5.
Yeah. So, I mean, my attitude is these economists really don't, I mean, they might just stick your wind, lick your finger, stick it in the wind and see which way the wind's blowing and then say, okay, that's what I'm betting on.
Sure.
Because
Even the stock market, they thought it was going to be a really rough year. It's always tumultuous, right?
Yeah.
The market's always
Up and
up,
down,
down, sideways, but we ended up like on this tear at the end of the year. We hit like all-time marks, and it's just sometimes they get it right, and sometimes they just miss it.
I know it's so crazy, and we saw unemployment go up a little bit high than expected. So that was a little bit of a surprise. It wasn't that big of a deal. We're going to talk about. I don't understand how they think they're going to fix this inflation problem because we're going to talk about this vicious cycle that I see coming. We'll see if that's true or not, but I don't understand it. So maybe somebody can explain it to me. Wanted to do a couple shout outs before we get into the predictions this year. We're going to talk about interest rates. We're going to talk about home insurance, what we experienced. Ross has been a great bellwether person to let us know, what's happening in the real world. And the last time Ross was here a couple of weeks ago, you had mentioned, Ross, that you actually were seeing that when you plugged in information for certain properties, that you're getting more than just citizens as a choice for some of the people, which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah, we're seeing roof age restrictions kind of easing a little bit with some carriers. So looking a little promising for the new year.
Great. So we're going to talk about basically what's happened this year. The stats for November came out since we've been off air.
Cool.
So we have 11 months of sales history for the South Florida area. So we're going to go over that. It's kind of interesting. Some of the stuff I found out yesterday was like, wow, I didn't know this was going on. And then if we have some extra time later, I thought we might have some fun and open up the MLS and talk about, I noticed that
only a real estate agent could
well,
say.
Yeah, that would be fun. Well, it can be kind of like, well, I was thinking we could kind of do it like, what's that machine that you have with the different bank to whatever that machine's called?
Oh, I don't use one. I never use the 360.
The 360 machine, yeah. So it used to
Is there
be.
one out there anymore? I don't think there is.
I don't see one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was in the studio there.
No,
Oh, it's always there.
It's always been that one machine over there, or I think there's one in our production studio.
That's true. I never knew that. I always thought in Port St. Lucie, was it up on Jennings Road? Was it also the 360 in the studio, not in the control room?
Yeah, the host always had it.
Did not know that.
Or Josh or Johnny or anybody, it always.
I wanted to play with that thing so bad all the time, and nobody would let me touch it. Don't touch that. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. I was
This
like,
is
okay.
Were you an expert on that, John? 360, or you just controlled one button?
Yeah,
You're like,
so I knew like a couple of the banks. I was an expert on it. This thing had, I don't know,
360
a
options.
ton of banks filled with some. I only knew a couple of them because they were used predominantly on the shows that I paid attention to more.
Yeah.
I was on, I should say. Yeah, I knew a lot of the drops that the docs use. I just would never be able to find them. Be like, go find that drop. Be like, oh, I know the drop. I have no idea what page is on that. Yeah. So not super well versed.
You just had to know like a number, right?
A number on a page. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Rich, Dano, they knew it like the back of their
They
hand.
did.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, they really knew it. That was pretty cool.
Me, not so much.
Yeah.
I got mine over here.
So I thought
Jimmy's got lots.
Say what?
He can make plenty of noise, just not with the 360.
yeah. So what I thought today, maybe if we have some time, is we'll start going through the MLS and find like some of the expensive houses and cheap houses. Like when I was doing the stats yesterday in Palm Beach County, there was only one house that sold between $50,000 and $100,000 in the county, single family home. I was like, but it, in the statistics, it doesn't tell you which house. So last night, I actually did the search just to see if it actually popped up, and I found the house. So I thought it would be kind of interesting talking about, price ranges and how many houses are sold and the different price points and stuff like that. We'll talk a little bit about that later.
Cool.
Wanted to give a couple of shout outs to people. Wanted to say shout out to Carl and Maggie. Their house has appraised, so now they're done. And we're just waiting for them to move to Ireland. Come on, get out of here. I'm teasing. So I'm really looking forward to closing out that deal for them. It was funny. We took a pretty good price for their house. We got full list. I was a little worried about the appraisal, but I thought that we probably could get through, but we'd be skin of our teeth. And then when we put the house on the market, we started getting offers right away. So I knew that we were going to do okay as far as getting the number we want, whether it would appraise or not. And one of the Keller Williams agents that was competing for the house was telling me this house is never going to appraise. Just take our offer, which was like 2.5% below list. And we decided to stick with the offer that we had and found out the appraise this week. So Excellent. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Carl and Maggie, for trusting us. It was really nice. He sent us a message saying, I'm so happy that I chose you guys or selected you guys to sell my home and everything. That made me feel really good.
That's what it's all about.
I also hope they both feel better because Carl took a tumble one day and he cut open his face up pretty good.
Oh.
And then Maggie, oh my gosh, did you hear about that?
No.
They have this like big, long, like cabinetry, 6 foot tall cabinetry, I'm going to guess, going across the length of the wall of the garage. While they were trying to pack and organize everything, the thing fell over and fell on top of Maggie.
Oh my goodness.
It hit her face, and she had to go to the emergency room with stitches and everything else. So be careful when you're moving.
Jeez. Nothing
too fast. Don't take your time and be careful. It's not worth going to the hospital for moving stuff.
Gosh.
But they're doing great. She just said hello this morning, so thank you. Thank you, Mom. Good morning. Thank you, Francis. Good morning. We are on Facebook and YouTube. And anybody on Facebook and YouTube, can you start doing us a favor? Can you start liking? Go ahead and subscribe if you can, but also please just like the page when you're on there. It really helps out a lot. We have way more people that see the show than actually like the show, so it would be really nice to let other people, like it on the button. Yeah. So please go ahead and do that for us and help let other people know about our show.
Yeah, it spreads the word a little bit when you do that.
I also wanted to give a special shout out to Maria. Maria is the mother of Kevin. Remember Kevin for deadhelper.com, Johnny?
Yeah,
remember
sure.
Kevin, of course, right?
Yes.
And Ross remembers. Kevin's mom needed to sell their home. They're downsizing. So Kevin knows a lot of realtors, but he called me because he goes, I know you're going to handle my mom the best. She was selling a house that wasn't in great repair. And then she was downsizing because what they were hoping to do was to sell the house that wasn't in great repair, take that money, buy something for cash so that because she's on a fixed income, like a lot of seniors down here, to make sure that they could afford their future housing costs. So the house that she's selling was in disrepair, so it was a little difficult to find, to try to maximize the money because we had to maximize every time we could get from that.
Sure.
But at the same time, we also had to find a new house for her to buy, and we had to do a simultaneous close, seller buyer, so that Maria, who's, God bless her, an octogenarian, is not homeless in this process, right? So no pressure, no diamonds, right? That was a pretty tough one. We probably went out and looked at like 30, 40 properties for her. We got her house under contract pretty quickly. With an investor that was willing to give her time and flexibility that she needed so she could be comfortable that she isn't going to be homeless.
Good.
But
did you do that with an extended close or a post-closing?
No, we did an extended close for this one because she's on a fixed budget and every dime that we can save, and the investor is getting it at a price they feel comfortable with, that if she took, if it was a 70-day close, it would be okay for him. So we got that part settled up. We looked at property after property after property. Boy, did I learn a lot about the older 55 and over communities in southern Palm Beach County. Kings Point, where I used to flip properties at, Kings Point is a 55 and over. They've got about 6,000 units in Delray. It's a gated community on two sides of a road. And it was started.
Oftentimes becomes a waterfront property too.
yes. And Wilma got hit really bad and lost like 1 out of 6 units over
That
there.
place floods all the time.
Yeah, and it floods out. But the thing that was always great about it, affordability for the units.
Mm-hmm.
The HOA was a little high compared to the rest of the area. It's usually in the 500s. It was always like right around 500 a month. But the amenities that you get from that community are pretty fabulous. For the $500 a month. Plus, it had shuttle bus, which is really important for seniors in case they ever lose the ability to drive. They have a shuttle bus that'll come in, take them to the pharmacy, take them to the doctors, take them grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And built into the price.
That's excellent.
Well, that community now, because the buildings are so old and the condo boards over there, there's so many associations over there because the community's so big. They haven't done the deferred maintenance that they need to keep the insurance going the way it's supposed to go. A lot of these communities, Ross, listen to this one community over there, this Villa community over there, the Seville community, they were at $517 a month. They're going up to $1,250 a month in that community. January 1st, from $514 to $1,250. I almost fell out of my chair. That's the HOA, monthly HOA fee, a condo fee, not the mortgage rate, not the mortgage rate, just your monthly condo fee, $1,250 a month. A lot of them are jumping up to $900 to $1,000.
That's like oceanfront condo.
That's what happens when
like
you kick the can.
HOA
When you
fees.
try to keep it at 500 as long as you can, you're gonna pay eventually.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen.
And I don't even think that's going to be done, to be honest with you, because the units, they have no hurricane covering. These apartments, these condos, unless the owner puts it in afterwards, they have no hurricane protection. They have 1960s windows, picture frame glass windows, jalousie windows. A lot of it isn't even CBS. A lot of those buildings in that community, I don't even know if they have CBS in Kings Point. Everything is built like this weird 1960s construction. Although Kings Point did grow all the way to the 1980s, right? But now that affordability community, it's not affordable anymore, right? Who's going to pay $1,250 a month if they're on a fixed income?
Nobody.
You know, it's
Yeah, I
not
wonder
affordable.
what the solution is going to be. There's got to be homeowners who just can't sustain a extra $500 or $600 or $700 a month. Like, where's that coming?
That's what I was terrified of for Maria, because I didn't want to put Maria into a community and then they haven't dealt with any of this stuff, right? And then she finds out 6 months after she moves in, or a year and a half after she moves in, oh, by the way, you know that $500 HOA, now it's going to be $1,250, right? So, and there's no way that a realtor can fully protect you from that. But I started asking questions. So we did get Maria's house under contract. We put an offer in yesterday on a unit. As soon as I get off the show, I'm going to be negotiating a little more on that. So she might be getting something, but not in Kings Point.
Yeah.
So the thing I found out, though, was for 55 and over, you got to be expecting to pay about $600 a month minimum down in the South County just for the condo fee down there. And it used to be, I used to think 300, 400.
Yeah.
Right now it's more like 500, 600 is the average. So I was just thinking about that yesterday, Mike. How many hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of times have you or I sat with a buyer and they say, do you want an HOA or a condo?
Right.
And they'll say, yeah, but only if I get something for the HOA fees.
Yes.
And I only want to pay $200 a month. Well, that almost doesn't exist anymore. You know,
Used to be you could do that.
Yeah.
'Cause if you were paying $500-$600 a month on a condo, you had like concierge service, right? Like stuff like that. Like just a lot of features that came along with it. Now, $200 a month on HOA. I mean, I guess it depends on the county, but I don't know what's out there.
Yeah, it's
other than maybe new construction, you'll see those numbers.
and a lot of this, and we're going to get into it later. A lot of this is related to the insurance that the condos are paying, the group insurance the condos are paying for the buildings, and that's jacking up the rates. The one community that I looked at for Maria was Lakes of Delray and West Delray, and that's a 55 over community. The units are about 10% higher than Kings Point at the baseline, and then it goes way higher than Kings Point. But they just went from 540 to 700, right? With no improvements to the community. Like they're not upgrading anything or deferred maintenance. They keep the buildings in pretty good shape. That was just to cover inflation, like the insurance costs rising and other things rising. So it went up $160 a month. Just because costs increase. So just be very careful when you're going to look for anything that has an HOA or a condo association. Just so the difference, everybody kind of interchanges these. One is the condo owners association. The other one is homeowners association. The difference is with condos, you have community property together, and with HOA, you own your property outright. Is that pretty much the easiest way to say that, Mike?
Yeah, I
Did
think
say that right?
that's right.
Pretty
Yeah.
much right. Yeah.
Condominiums they're I don't want to say cooperative, but essentially something like that. Like everyone owns a piece of it of the same building.
Yep. And so just wanted to give a shout out to Maria. Sorry about that. And also want to give out Sean and Katie. We got through their negotiations on their house. We had some really tough negotiations on that one. We got an extremely high price for the unit. I didn't really even think it was going to appraise for that. It was like on Cracktown. Well, we had such a big bidding war. The price just went so high. I was like, this is unsustainable. But it was kind of, did you like the Cracktown comment
Yeah.
you were saying?
Yeah.
Sounds like you were describing their neighborhood.
So
Right.
no, the
Jeez.
neighborhood's nice. That's why it was so desirable. But what happened was we had to take a big haircut because of the repairs that needed to the house. But we started out at such a high price that everybody was happy at the end. So,
Yeah.
Nice.
you know, I always kind of laugh about that because you start off with this fake number. And, I know that that's not even going to be close to where we land. And then we land way lower and everybody's happy. And I'm like, we didn't have to go through all that. We could just went to this number and got there a lot faster. But
So did it appraise?
we're very lucky on that house. One of the reasons why we took our buyer, because we had so many choices, is they're putting such a huge down payment down. There's going to be no appraisal.
Oh.
Yeah, they're putting down like 48% or something of the.
So you got
of
an
the
appraisal
property.
waiver?
Yeah, we got a waivable appraisal. Yeah, was that appraisal waiver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a waiver of the appraisal.
Waiver of the appraiser. I like that. Waiver of the appraisal. Yeah.
Say again?
Waiver of the appraisal.
Okay.
There it is.
Got the waiver of the appraisal.
Yep. And wanted to say congratulations to Anne Marie. Well, not congratulations. Thank you. She's trusting us to sell her small, I shouldn't say small, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath villa in Westlake Worth. We're going to be putting it on the market probably late next week. So if you're looking for a 2.2, it's going to be in the mid 3s. Give me a call. The unit's really nice. It's on the lake. It's got lots and lots of windows, so lots of bright light. Needs a little bit of updating, but at the price that we have it, there's room to do that. It isn't like we're going to overprice it. And there might be a car involved in this one, so give me a call.
Yeah,
If you're interested in that one.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
And let me see here. Hold on. So one of the things, I wanted to ask you guys something about this and see if you heard of anything. Have you heard, I don't know if I'm getting this from like advertising or if this is real news, but Port St. Lucie is like, there's been these articles coming out. It might be a great advertising campaign by this one development up there, but they're calling Port St. Lucie the new Villages. And the Villages, if for people that don't know, is a community in the northeast part of Florida, way up by Daytona, Palm Coast, Jacksonville, that is this gigantic, ginormous community of 55 and over. And you've read about it. I know you've seen it in the news because all these people are driving golf carts and they put like little things on their antenna of the golf carts to tell about their sexuality and their sexual preferences, and they have concerts every day.
Got the highest rate of like STDs.
Yeah,
in the
supposedly
country,
has
like
super
crazy.
high
Yeah.
STD rate, right? And this is like this 55 and over community.
Is that why Port St. Lucie's being dubbed? Is the STD rate going through the roof?
No. What
Jimothy?
they're saying is it's going to become the new 55 and over Mecca, right? And they have this one community. My agent David on our team, he just went and showed Lisa and David, our customers, the community of Valencia in Port St. Lucie. And the units are going from the 400s all the way up to 2 million. But the facilities, I haven't been there yet, but David said the facilities over there are like amazing. You feel like you're in a Disney
What's the HOA?
resort. I don't know. I'm going to have to check. But this is all new construction, so you figure it's not going to be too bad, right, Ross? Is brand new construction?
Well, it depends. It's the amenities that that are going to drive that.
Yeah,
You've got-
for sure. Yeah, it's over. Yeah. St. Lucie County in general is really starting to wake up a little bit, after all the years that we've been on the show. Oh, by the way, next Saturday will be 11 years, 364 days we've been on the air. Is that crazy? Yeah, 12 years will be next Saturday, basically, our 12th-year anniversary.
Very
so
cool.
We're going to do something about that. Yeah, now that we're counting, right? It's like, oh my God, another year.
Are you sure you're right on the days?
Yes, January 7th, 2012.
Because there's been at least 3 leap years in that block.
Well, January 7th, 2012.
No, but you're saying
11
365
years, 364 days. Yes.
Yeah.
The math guy's going to talk to me about that. So, yeah, you win.
Like
You win on that. I
360.
give up on
Probably
that.
a couple of days off.
Yeah.
I had leap years fresh to mind because I was looking at the expiration date on something, and it said February 29th, 2024.
Throw that milk away.
And I
man.
saw that, and I was like, oh, February 29th. I guess we got a leap year coming up.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
One of my friends' father was born on a leap year day or whatever.
Oh.
And so he always said that his father was like a quarter younger than he was.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So when he was 60, he was early 45.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He worked it.
That's like, I guess, the one cool thing you get if you're born on a leap day, right? Or a leap year. You're like, yeah, I
At
can
least
use
I got that going
that
for
thing
me.
that nobody's ever heard.
Yeah, I got that for me. So I'm wondering, it's going to be interesting. I'm wondering if this is really going to turn into, because St. Lucie, the reason why I'm saying I think it's going to start moving is these kind of developments like the villages they're putting in there, but also Fort Pierce. And I keep saying this, Fort Pierce, it looks like it's starting to wake up a little bit. Every time I go up there, I'm seeing more and more things being torn down and built. And I really feel like Fort Pierce is really trying to turn into something. They're trying to wake up. It's like, hey, we're an oceanfront town too. Hey, we got great places, land ready to go. And they got that surf park they're trying to do on the west side of town. But with the Fort Pierce thing, just to show you how they're flexing their muscles, they're trying to put in a new Brightline station. And the two cities that they're trying to weigh who's going to come first is Fort Pierce or Stewart. And when I read that, I used to think, oh, no way, Stewart would way beat out Fort Pierce, politically, to try to get the station over.
But I feel like Stewart's like, no, we don't want one of those.
No, they're asking
They
for
want it?
Yeah, they're
All right.
not fighting, but they're both applying for it, right? So, and I was thinking, well, that'll be really interesting. So if Fort Pierce is picked over Stewart, I'm not behind the scenes on this, but I'm guessing that they're betting that Fort Pierce is really going to start attracting a lot of people.
Well, Fort Pierce
and that's
has
why they want to
Fort Pierce has federal courthouses. It's not like
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
this little nothing. It has federal courthouses. They just redid those in the last 5 to 10 years.
Mhm.
So it's a bit more of a hub. Yeah.
But the downtown area over there. Yeah, and well, Stewart's small compared to West Palm too, but the quality of the restaurants and the stores I feel are different than Fort Pierce versus Stewart. But we'll see what happens. I think Fort Pierce is a good long-term bet for people. What I'm trying to do right now with David, just any investors out there saying, hey, that sounds kind of interesting for a long-term play. We're trying to find the available land surrounding certain things that have already been approved, projects that have already been approved out there, where we're trying to find like rental properties and Airbnb type of things that would turn into good situations for that. And we're trying to find that for investors down there right now.
Nice.
So anybody interested in that, please give us a call, and we'd love to talk to you about that. And
Go ahead.
Johnny, how
Well, I was going to say, yeah, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Cool. Let's go ahead and take a break. And on the flip side, we're going to start getting into the market trends. One of the market trends I did not like at all, but it made me feel kind of good because it didn't really affect my team that much. But overall, I was like, wow, that was something I didn't expect to see. So we're going to talk about that next.
Coming up, 4-minute break. We'll be back at it. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Access to the entire team. These are pros. We call it your one-stop real estate shop for a reason. You're looking to buy a home, sell a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, you're having issues in some aspect, reach out to the pros. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You got the hotline, 888-973-7828. Dial it if you're old school. But, of course, you got the contact sheet and always a nice resource. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. 4 minutes from now, we're back at it. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio. Happy New Year.
Dial the number. That is old school. Were you thinking? When you say old school because you're thinking rotary dial, which I guess is where that came from.
Yep.
Now it's like punch in the number.
Yeah, we don't dial shit no more.
Tap the number.
Did your dad leave yesterday or
He's
today?
leaving tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, Sharon were here. They left.
They never moved out. They're still in the States, right?
In Richmond. Yeah, they haven't moved to Europe. But I think they still have plans to do that at some point.
Yeah, he's still with the same company, everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And where did
Did you bring in your mom's
I'm
statement?
no, I actually did, because I know you're right, Mike. I know it was 143. So let me ask you this. I can do FHA financing because I haven't owned a house in 3 years. So if I were to do FHA, well, I don't even know if I need to do FHA, but if I just to do a regular finance, this is what we need to do. I need to buy the house, and I'd like to get out a little money when we buy the house, if it's possible, like $25,000, maybe $30,000. So the total loan would be more like 175 minus the 3.5%, because I want to hire Pete to go in there and renovate the house a little bit for my mom,
Okay.
so that she has a better place to live while she's living there.
Okay.
So I would like to get some cash out of the house at the same time. So if I just need to do the deal, just do it as a regular sale, I'm okay with that. Or if you have a more creative way, I'm open to that too. I'd like to have my mom stay on title with me, because that way she can take the homesteading and the widow exemption and all that and keep the taxes low. Yeah.
Interesting. So, I mean, I think you want to go on title though.
I think I do, because what I'm planning on doing is I'm planning on like taking over the mortgage payments, so mom isn't paying anything for like taxes, insurance, HOA, nothing.
Yeah.
So that she's paying
I think
nothing.
it's all still on.
Sorry.
Because I can hear it outside. I can hear it in his coming out. And it still says live on the feed.
It's
It's on my mom's house. It's right there.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to do it in February or March. If I'm going to do it, unless the interest rates look like they're changing too much, then I'm going to do it fast.
Yeah, I think so the question is, like, is it a purchase?
Owner of Brightway Insurance has been helping our listeners get great rates.
I think there's a determining factor there.
Haven't checked your homeowner's insurance
Does
policy.
your mom,
This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment.
Well, if
you want her to stay on
Also
title,
helps
so you
with
don't
renters
lose
and
her
auto
existing
insurance.
homestead.
Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day. Call Ross today at 561-425-6228.
Can she do
Drop
it?
by his office.
It'd have to stay in her name only.
Now you know why I'm happy to be
the thing is, if she do refinance, I don't think that she will be able to.
Or click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888.
Okay, maybe we'll look at that then, Mike, because I gotta get that resolved.
Okay.
That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Either way, it should be
Don't forget to
possible.
use the most accurate search engine to find your new home, or ask for a free home valuation.
Yeah, as a purchase, then we would do it. There's enough equity there. We just set the sale price so your mom gets the remodel stuff.
Yeah.
Timothy.
Okay, hold on. Okay, can everybody hear us now? Just please
Your
put
fault.
out.
I don't
Please put
control
it out. We're talking.
I'll
Okay.
take the blame for it.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry about that. So,
Need a fall guy?
yeah.
there he
Okay.
is.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Karen, for letting us know that we can't hear. So thank you about that.
Now we have to start over.
No, we're not going to start over. We are talking, but we are talking about what's happening with the interest rates over the last time and people's attitudes towards them.
Yeah.
So last week we had this guy when we were saying if you're holding on to a house that you really don't want because you really don't want to leave the interest rates you have,
Yeah.
that, you know, there's nothing wrong with that if all you care about is how much money you're saving on the interest rate. But if you're not happy where you live and you're doing that just for the mortgage payment, you're trapped. You're trapping yourself mentally and by choice to staying someplace that you're not happy with because you just like the payment. Sometimes that's okay. And that's what the guy didn't get. I didn't tell anybody to go out and sell their house because he said, shame on you for telling people to give up their 3% interest rate for 7% interest rate. And that isn't what I was talking about. What you're focusing on is only the interest rate. I'm talking about living.
Yeah, I didn't know that you were selling mortgages.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess he's thinking you have to sell and buy so that way.
But if you're you're telling people that you're selling an 8% interest, you know, I don't know. Seems like it's not doesn't have anything to do with what you actually do.
I know, but people just get so angry. It's like they want to hear, and it might just been the moment, but sometimes people hear what they want to hear and not what you're saying. And I'm not telling everybody, and Mike and I have been very clear on this how many times, and Johnny, it's like, if you don't want to sell, you're happy with your house, you're happy with everything, stay.
Yeah.
Stay, enjoy your,
Or even if you're okay
life.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be like super happy.
No, you don't have to be walking
I'm
on
trying
air.
to think, Jim, in our entire history, I can only think of one scenario where the couple was like, we have to get out of this house for whatever the circumstances were. And they just, they had to move away from that neighborhood.
I think I remember.
That
Yep,
scenario.
yep.
So they were like, whatever it takes, we're going to do it.
Mhm.
Luckily, they were profitable and they were able to roll it into a new home and find the right home. But usually people aren't just like, I got to get out of here, right? But sometimes the opportunity is there. So,
Yeah.
But we're never like trying to convince people. Obviously,
Like you're trying to upgrade your iPhone.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
We give it to you free, right? No, but you're in the business of helping people buy and sell real estate. So obviously, part of your job is convincing people to use you to buy and sell the real estate, but your job isn't to convince people to sell.
Right.
Your job is to convince people who want to sell to use you to help
work with
sell,
me, but
right?
not trying to convince
Same thing
you.
for me.
How many times, and you've been with me at a couple of those meetings, how many times have we gone to a couple's house? They weren't sure what to do. We sat at the table.
Yeah.
Mike gave the mortgage perspective of all the different options. I'm giving sale versus rent, keeping as a rental, going through all that. And then we come to the whole thing and say, here are the numbers. And it doesn't look that great for the seller, and then the seller goes, you know what? I think I'm going to stay. And we're like, wow, we did our job. You know what I mean?
Makes
Because they
sense.
got the right answers and they move on. So we are not high pressure people, but I have never, ever seen in the whole time I've been in real estate now, 20 years or so total between investing in this, where people were so concerned about the interest rates over the places that they lived. I've never seen everybody in a large groups of people being so attached to their mortgage payment, their mortgage interest rate, like it's their credit score. What's your FICO score?
Yeah.
Oh, I got 3.11, on my FHA loan or whatever. So the thing is that the people that have been waiting on the fence, the people I talk to in the database, I have people waiting on the fence since 2018 saying, I'm waiting for the market to get better, wait for the market better. And I was thinking about it today in 2018. Property values on average, in the 3-5 counties down here that we're at, you're probably looking minimum 40% property values.
I was going to say
increase.
For 2018, it's got to be more than that.
I don't know if it's more. Well, that would be about. It might be because that's only 5%
could be
a year.
Double.
That's only 5% a year. It could be closer to 60% appreciation, and some houses have doubled in that time.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that you've missed out by and then you didn't get any tax breaks for your interest rates that you were paying.
Yep.
You don't get any of that. You don't get any of the appreciation. And you are missing out on a lot of stuff if you're just sitting on the sidelines, not ready to do anything. And the other thing is, if you're not prepared and the market shifts negatively to you, you need if you're going to put yourself in that position, you got to make sure that you're lined up and ready to go so that you could do everything quickly. Because I'm telling you, if you don't do that, you're going to be competing with other people that have done that. And
Yeah.
you're going to be behind the 8 ball.
I'm trying to
And
think of like a easy, like a couple lines to summarize that. And I always use that target, right? So it's fine to wait as long as you know what you're waiting for, which is usually a payment, right? So usually people buying a home, they get a mortgage.
and the
then
type
there's
of
a
home they
payment.
want for that payment.
So,
like that it matches.
Yeah. So it's a payment on homes, type of home in a specific or several specific neighborhoods, right? Maybe even county based. I mean, it's just, you know, whatever that is, you kind of have to know what those parameters are and then be in a position where when those stars align and all those boxes are checked, you're able to then make an offer. So it's like you said, get ready. It's almost like get ready to get ready.
Yeah,
right. Like, and it's really, it's pretty, I used to say, who was the guy who did the let's get ready to,
get ready to rumble.
Yeah.
That
Michael
Michael,
Let's get
what's his
ready.
Was it
name?
Buffer? Michael Buffer?
Michael
Yeah.
Buffer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to get ready. You know, like that. But so you have to be like, so the starting premise is you are a potential home buyer sometime, right? And in the visible, future, right? So you can see it on the horizon. And it doesn't hurt to make sure that your position, number one, can you do it, right? So can you qualify if you need a mortgage? And then you can wait. Then, you start picking your check boxes, start outlining what you need as the parameters, and then wait, because then you can watch it. Then you can know your numbers. Then you'll have tools at your disposal to be able to see if the stars are aligned. So
it's almost like being sitting on top of the mountain, looking down at everything. You're ready to pounce when you're ready to pounce, as opposed to being the scrum of the masses trying to get everything together that you're trying to beat a deadline.
And it doesn't cost you anything other than your time.
A little bit of time,
effort, right?
How long does it take the average person, Mike, to actually get qualified with you? Like when I sent him over to you, when I sent him over on the phone, like Ryan, we sent Ryan over a couple days ago. How much work is Ryan going to have to do to get his loan approval together?
So we talked for about a half an hour, and that's where I do my information gathering, and he asked questions, and we have just a general conversation about what they want to do. I gathered the information I need to do the initial analysis. I tell people the process of pre-approval is about answering 3 questions. Well, number one, the goal of the pre-approval is to make sure that you're only going to get into a contract that can close, right? So if we're not, you got to know where you stand so that you can make an offer where you can get to the finish line. So, and I take that part of it is very, serious for me. Like, I don't want to be in contracts that can't close because it's a nightmare for everybody. And I don't want to be the one responsible for that. So that's the goal of the pre-approval. And you do that before you're doing what I call the serious house hunting, which is, you're out looking at homes ready to make an offer. So it's about 3 general questions. Number 1, do you qualify from a credit perspective? Number 2, what is the maximum mortgage payment that you qualify for? Number 3, what type of loan are we doing? Right. So those are the 3 questions I need to answer. Now, in order to answer those, I gather all your information. Depending on timing, I'll look at your credit. I want to talk, about your income and document your income. And I want to talk about your cash position, like how much money you're going to have.
So when you say that turn in the documents that you need, how hard is it usually for the average person to turn if it's a regular deal and it's not complicated?
Ryan yesterday, because I noticed he was simple. Here's what I asked for him for documentation. Normally at this stage, I really just care about income. Right. So I asked him for his latest pay stubs, 1 month, his 2 most recent W-2s, not tax returns, just the W-2s. And I asked him for a copy of his driver's license. So I asked him for 3 things.
And that's it. And then he can
pay stubs, W-2s, driver's license.
Yep.
That's all I need in order to finalize his pre-approval and be certain about it. Now, at some point, I'll want to document his cash position, but at this stage of the game, because he's going to be selling
transferring. Yeah, he's selling a home.
He's selling a home, so a lot of his money is coming from proceeds of the sale. So it's a little bit up in the air how that's going to end up.
Well,
so that's pretty painless. Sometimes I need tax returns. Sometimes I need Social Security verification letters. Sometimes so I try to ask for as little as possible. But what I'm asking for, I need in order to be sure on the pre-approval. So, 30-minute conversation, and then organize some docs and get them over to me one way or the other.
And then Mike sets you up on this really great personalized mortgage app where you can plug in your personal numbers and really find out what your mortgage payment will be, as opposed to a generic principal and interest with no idea of what's happening with taxes and insurance.
Yeah, it's like a fancy mortgage calculator, but it's tailored to you.
Yeah. And and it also is tailored so that the limits, if you go over your limits, either the amount of money you have for cash to bring to the table or the monthly mortgage payment's too high, it's going to reject you and tell you why. And then you can change around the numbers to see, well, what would work if it does work at all.
Yeah.
Super.
It's
I
really
tell people
powerful.
it's really easy to remember. It's a combination payment calculator, closing cost calculator, pre-approval letter generator.
Yeah, it is too. Is that all one word, right?
Yeah.
And then
All hyphenated.
Yep.
.com.
And
I
since
should
we're
get that.
since we're yeah, you should do that, right? But we should give a shout out to Ryan and Gina. Ryan and Gina were referred to us from James P. Thank you, James P. He's been in our database a very long time. Ryan and Gina are moving. Their company is transferring from a different part of the state to down here. And James is going to be working for Ryan. So he told me after Ryan had hired us, you better do him a good job because he's my supervisor.
Cool.
So I have to do an excellent job now. I'm sorry.
Do I know James?
I don't know if you know James. He might have called maybe for refis in the past. He's been in our database a very long time, Real Radio listeners.
Beautiful.
So thank you so much for referring out.
Yes.
Ryan is
First time, long time.
yeah, and Ryan seems like a really nice guy. And what he said was I had a bunch of people, I could have called, but after talking to you, you're the guy. So I was really happy. He says, I'm not calling anybody else. You answered all my questions. You told me what I was going to ask you anyway, because he wanted to make sure this is happening. It's funny. I had 2 calls from 2 different people that didn't know me from out of the area. Both were referrals, and they both went completely different ways. With Ryan, he listened to everything we said. We explained our systems, how we do our systems, totally bought into it, made total sense to him. He's a manager of sales, so he kind of understands, our thought processes are similar because of the field he's in.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, yes, yes, yes. Then the other guy I talked to, Paul, completely different experience. Very arm's length, very not trustworthy at all. He was treating me as like I was an adversary instead of being an advocate for him and for the type of property he's looking for. He wouldn't really tell me his budget. He wanted to buy a piece of land. He didn't tell me what type of house he wanted to put on it. He didn't give me budget. He didn't want to give me any proof of funds, but he wanted me to do all this stuff for him. And I'm like, look, I'll do everything that needs to be done and more than you will even ask for. But you got to follow our systems so that everything could go through smoothly. You haven't bought a property in 10 years. I sell 100 a year. So we gotta get this going. And I created a video for him. The property that he was looking at was 33%, 30 to 40% overpriced. I told him that when I was on the phone. I don't think he believed me. So I created a video, showed him what pricing was going on in that neighborhood and why I felt the property he was looking at was overpriced. I gave him an opportunity to look at other properties in that area. And then I showed another neighborhood that's similar that might work just as well. He probably didn't even know about. Ryan, he saw the value of everything. He's like, oh man, get me Mike, right? Paul, it's like, I'm really disappointed you didn't meet me 12 hours after I found out about you. So he expected me to drop everything and just go over there. And my day was booked that day and he was leaving to go back out of town. So I gave him all this great information. And then when I called him back, he was like, I'm not sure because you didn't meet me that day. And I'm like, well, I told you I couldn't meet you, but I gave you all the information I promised. So why don't you give me a call back if you ever want to work? That guy, he's going to get burned over and over again, probably because he isn't understanding. Oh, and by the way, the reason why he was referred to me, he was referred to another agent. That agent and he found a property. They were already at the title company, ready to close. Escrow was in. It was a cash deal, hundreds of thousands of dollars for this piece of land, and found out that the title chain wasn't good, and the person they were dealing with were not the seller. And the title company got smart. I don't know what happened because he wasn't very upfront with me. but he said that the title company got suspicious, called up the owner, and the owner's like, I'm not selling that land. And then the whole thing fell apart.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's the agent's fault, because it sounds like pretty sophisticated fraud to me. But so I'm not blaming the agent. But what I'm saying is he's getting burned because he's not following systems. He doesn't know that agent, didn't create a relationship with the agent he was working with. He was just a warm body to get him to buy the piece of land instead of looking at it. I need a professional that's going to help me do the right things. I'm not from this area. I'm not used to Florida laws. I'm not used to Florida fraud.
Right, that too. Yep.
Because we are number one. Florida's number one. Mortgage fraud, identity fraud. And,
Let's go.
What's the other one? Mortgage fraud, identity fraud. What's the other one?
Insurance fraud.
Insurance fraud. Thank you.
Nice.
Yes, we're number one in everything. God
And
love
apparently
it.
there's something going on in the villages up north.
Evident.
Right? I couldn't tell if that was, is it spoken of highly, or is that is it not good? That neighborhood or that community?
I have never been there. So I've never been there yet. I was aware it was being built, but I didn't know it was going to be so elaborate. David was wowed. When David, my agent, went up there to show the buyers, they were just completely wowed by the facilities and everything offered over there. It's going to be a ginormous community out there. So it'll be interesting. The other thing I noticed, Timothy, in the papers lately is that Tradition is having some crime problems.
Are they really?
Yeah, the police are going out there a lot right now. Tradition in Port St. Lucie. And I was thinking that used to be one of the premier communities in St. Lucie County. When Tradition was built, that was a very big deal at the time.
The criminals are going where the money is.
Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of interesting over there. So
the person that Chris, you guys know Chris, who works for me, you've probably spoken to her on the phone.
Yeah.
She had her car stolen from out in front of her apartment.
Wow, up there?
Yeah, in Jupiter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We had to go find it in the woods.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
So they just took it out for a joyride?
They got it stuck deep in the woods. Yeah, we had to go get it.
I had a friend who had a Camaro. This is when we were young kids, right? 20s. And he had this Camaro and he hated it after a while. So he wanted it stolen because I don't know if it was upside down or whatever. But so what he used to do is he used to take the keys and put them on the top of the tire when any place he went, hoping that somebody would see the keys and steal the car. Well, one day it happened and the car was stolen. He was so happy, right, that the car was stolen because he's going to get a new car. Well, karma counts. They found the car, the insurance company, and they beat the car up pretty. It was a T-top Camaro back then with the T-tops and all that.
Sounds sweet.
And they destroyed the inside of the car, beat up the car, driving it around pretty bad, but it was salvageable. So the insurance company said, we're not giving you a new one. We're going to fix the one you got. So he had to keep it anyway.
I can fix that.
It's so funny. Karma counts. So getting back to what's going on in the economy. I wanted to go over the real estate market real quick. Actually, maybe we should do it right at the 10 o'clock. Okay, because we're at 10 o'clock. So what we're going to do on the flip side, we're going to start talking about what happened this year in the real estate market in all the counties down here. It's kind of interesting stuff if you really kind of want to know what's going to happen in what happened this year. Like if you think about what you were predicting was going to happen this year to what actually happened this year, I don't know if everybody would be on the same page of the prediction versus what really happened. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. The first thing we're going to talk about when we come back is sales. And are sales up? Are they down? Are they flat? We're going to talk about that. It's kind of surprising answer.
All right. Excellent. A lot to get into still remaining on a Saturday. It's 2 hours of infotainment. And if you're doing the record keeping, we got another full hour remaining for you. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. You're always welcome to join the radio show. Toll free at 877-927-6969. But when you need this team and you got questions, you're not comfortable on the radio, or you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, you got to go to pros, people that are great at what they do. That's why we give you FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Find them on Facebook and YouTube as well. But FloridaTalkRealEstate.com is your hub for all things real estate. Know it, use it, love it, share it. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes from now. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
The fine woman in your smart speaker knows what you need.
Really?
Don't ask how. Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
The Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
This is Real Radio. Hour number 2 of Florida Talk Real Estate on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. Toll-free number if you'd like to be a part of the program. If you got questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, do not hesitate. Dial 877-927-6969. Jimothy, our producer extraordinaire, he'll line you up there. We'll get the answers you're looking for. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and good morning. Happy Saturday.
Yes, indeed. As we round out 2023, we still got a lot to get into on this Saturday. I'm your boy, Johnny C, Air Traffic Control.
Ross Komarinetz is with us on this Saturday. He's also with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. What's up, Ross?
You know, that's right. You talk about the pros here, and I just witnessed like the pros pro coming in right at the right, clutch, in playing through the injury, right, saving the day.
Oh, yes.
I saw it happen.
Yeah. Something like that. It's radio. Don't put it way up on a pedestal.
You're a rock star. You're a real rock star.
So, yeah, I appreciate that, Ross. That's very nice of you. Thanks for building me up. Mike Rauch is the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. He's a pros pro. He's right here with us on a Saturday.
I think so. I think at this stage of the game, I've been doing it long enough.
Yeah.
I consider myself a pro.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're in good hands.
Great hands. Yes, you are. And we got Jimmy D here. Speaking of being in good hands, he is our fearless leader, has been for damn near 12 years now. He runs a top producing Keller Williams team, Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. Jimmy D, how you be?
I'm doing great. I think we've all put in about 10,000 hours to make us an expert in our fields, right?
Something like
Isn't that what the thing says? If you do something for 10,000 hours to become an expert?
Oh,
yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, you never heard of that?
Figure that out. How many? Yeah, how long is 10,000 hours?
How many?
I mean, as far as like days. Let's
Work
say you're
weeks?
doing 40. Where's the calculator?
Wait, 10. I got it up right now because I was doing something else. 10,000 divided by 40.
That's a long time.
250.
Okay, divided by 52.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, 5 years.
5 years.
Not bad.
So
5 full-time years.
That's not bad.
50 times 2 times. Wait, hold on.
I've seen a lot of people that have been doing stuff for 5 years that
Well, I just figured out we've only done about
I've mastered
1,000. At most, we've done 1,000 hours on the show, and that isn't really true because I only did 50-week year. But the other thing I didn't count is that at the beginning, people forget this. I don't remember what year we went to 2 hours, but we were on for 1 hour for many of the years.
Right.
I think we didn't go to 2 hours until you came on, Mike, right?
It was definitely after I came on. So we were doing an hour.
So 2015, basically, or 2016 is when we went to 2 hours.
Yeah, probably
Somewhere
ballpark,
around
yeah.
there. Yeah. So we've done about 1,000 hours on this show. And you know what? They're all on the iHeartMedia app. And they're also on our website, Florida Talk Real Estate. And it's on our Florida Facebook page by just clicking on the live section. And same thing with YouTube. If you click on live, you'll see all the past podcasts that we put out over the time.
Very
So,
cool.
Yeah.
We should do some sort of game where we just like randomly pick a show from years past and talk, pick out a topic, and then we put out there whoever can find this topic in this show wins the prize. So that way you get people listening to all the old catalog.
I was trying to get it all categorized, and I had the crew, Cam and his crew, working on that over the years, but it just got to be too much. I really need to hire somebody just to listen to the 2-hour shows and segment them. So if anybody wants to listen to our show for 2 hours a week and then segment it, I'll pay you a certain amount of money to go ahead and do that. Give me a call.
How much?
I don't know. I'll have to figure out because I don't know how long it would take.
2 hours.
I know this. When I used to be a reporter, yeah, well, I know it's a lot longer than 2 hours. When I was a newspaper reporter, and I would do big interviews, like big investigations, and I would tape it. Back in the days with the real tape, right? Real audio tape.
Yeah.
And then they had micro cassettes, which was like totally.
You had the little one, you'd push the
button.
button.
The little micro cassettes. It was so cool back then, right?
And then when they go, can we go off the record?
But,
you'd pull it out and stop it.
Yeah, you would do that.
Right?
Yeah, you would do that sometimes. Sometimes you would argue about whether it's on the record or off the record. But yeah, you would shut it off if it was off the record. But then you'd have to go back and transcribe it. And what I learned is that for every minute you had to transcribe, it took 2 minutes. So if it was a 2-hour interview, it was 4 hours of transcribing. So whoever's going to do
with
that, it'll
AI,
take a little bit more than
you
2
can run
hours.
that through an AI thing. And
that would be so cool. Maybe I should do that with AI and try to see if they'll segment it for me, and then I could just fix it.
I think you'd start by just like transcribing the shows. So AI should be able to do that. And then you figure out how to search them for, keywords or whatever. And then Bob's your uncle.
You want to work on it, Mike? You want a project?
That's why I asked how much you're paying. I mean, it's at least 10,000 man hours.
Well, let's get into the stats. Yeah, there you go. 10,000 man hours. Let's get into the stats for this year because we really didn't talk the monthly reports, I wasn't as on top of it as it was most years. So I think it's kind of important to go back to look at this. So I'm going to focus on Palm Beach County right now, guys. And the reason why, I always look at Indian River County, St. Lucie County, Martin County, Palm Beach County, Broward County, Dade County. Those are the counties I look at every single month, because those are the areas that we work in directly without referring anything out. So I think, but because everything has been so similar, Miami, Dade, and Broward are so similar on stats that we could just focus on one county. And if you live in the other two counties, this is probably what's happening there. I am going to break out St. Lucie County a little bit, because St. Lucie County is like a little different animal. It isn't as homogeneous as Dade, Broward, and Palm is. So let's get into it. So where are we for the first 11 months of the year? Okay, so in November, we had only nine. This is one of the surprising things I saw. Only 914 closed sales for single family homes in November. And I was like, wow, that is low. So I went back and looked to see what happened over the last year and where 914 sales per month ranks for the last 12 months. And there was only one other month this year that had lower than 914 sales. Now that was January 2023, and there were only 794 sales. And I do remember saying that in January. I remember going, wow, that's like half our normal average for a normal month.
If you had let us guess, I would have said January.
Oh, you would have guessed
Yeah.
it too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you all were going through pretty bad time in January. So 914 is really low. This year, on average, we're closing out probably, I didn't actually use a calculator. I'm doing this through my Jim DePola brain. It is probably like 1150 is the average monthly. The high for the year was 1,400 sales. And we hit that three times. But we were mostly in the 1,100, 1,200 for most of the year. But 900
When were the
is
14s?
really low. I'm sorry?
When were the 14th?
The 14s were, and they were different times of the year. One was in March, another one was in May, and then June. So May and June were right next to each other, right? But April was low. So we're seeing, the sales are kind of slow. Now, the other thing I found out that was surprising is the amount of people that pay cash for those houses was almost 50%. 428 of the 914 sales in Palm Beach County were cash.
Wow.
That to me was very
crazy.
surprising. Yeah. Now, the other thing is median sales price. The median sales price for November, which means half of the homes, single family homes, sold for more than this number. The other half sold for less. It's not the average. But the median sales price, which is supposed to be a better indicator of what's really happening in the market, is $600,000. Now, once again, I always talk to you about the crazy real estate math. So let's look at this. How the National Association of Realtors and the Florida Association of Realtors does this, they look back what happened a year ago in November. So a year ago in November, we were at 565. So this year, we're at 600, which is a 6.2% increase year over year, right? So even with these high interest rates that we've had, the highest interest rates we've seen since 2009, we're still seeing that we have appreciation in the thing. So all these people that are trying to outsmart the market by saying, I don't want to do anything because the real estate market is bad. From what perspective? Because if you buy a home, it's probably going to appreciate. So you're always going to do better. Not always, because you go through down markets, but in general, since 2018, we haven't seen any down years. There has never been a year with depreciation in the South Florida area 2019 forward. We haven't had it. So all those people sitting on the sidelines, all they've watched is interest rates go up and prices go up. So you're not outsmarting the market. What you're doing is outsmarting yourself. If you're serious about buying a house, you got to say, hey, what does it take and what does it look like to get me into buying a house? Now, the other thing I want to explain is median sales price for the whole year. So they go back to November of last year to find out that we have a 6.2% increase in property values But when you go to the whole year, where does the 600 land? So is 600 the peak? Nope. The peak for this year was June 2023, and it was 625, which is exactly what we hit a year before in June, was 625, and that was the peak for 2022. Was 625 was the peak. Right now, 625 is going to be the peak this year, unless December goes. We get some big numbers in December.
And June was when interest rates were where they are right now, right?
June. Okay, let's look at that. Hold on.
You know what you said earlier?
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I have it here.
So I'm going to liquidate the real estate portfolio in June, apparently.
Well, let's see here.
I mean, June is always a busier month. So
we were
at June. You said was one of the peak months for closed sales.
Yes, it was. And we had a higher price point, but the interest rate was 6.67, right? And we're at 6.61 right now today, right? So we're right about at the interest rates we are right now, and people were getting in. Now, the interest rates had been going very choppy, but in the upward trend by June. So I think a lot of people in June were like, we don't know what's going to happen with these interest rates. Let's lock it in now and go do what we have to do now. That's what I think happened. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I think those rates, people who closed in June would have been locking their rate in May.
Mm-hmm.
And so May was lower than March.
So May, right? We were at like 639.
There was like a little peak in March and then it dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And so then people probably, April and May were probably saw that. Maybe they cooled off and then they said, oh, rates came down a little bit. And we're talking like quarter point movement at this point, right? They're like, okay, now's the time. Let's really get out there. And then, then rates started to go back up in June. And then pretty much from there climbed to where we landed in October.
So
at the height. So,
yeah. So if you think about it, if the peak was 625 this year and we're only at 600, right now.
Okay.
25 divided by, we're only went up 4%. If you look at it that way, from the peak of the year, we're only up 4%. I'm sorry, we're down 4% from the peak, right? No, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Wait, I did that wrong.
You're trying to did you have year over year appreciation? It seems like, what's a good way to do that, Johnny? So as the median sales price, maybe the peak of last year compared to the lowest of this year.
Well, what we're doing, if we went to the lowest this year, the lowest this year would be
low to low, peak
pretty
to peak.
low. I mean, the low for this year was 549.
What was the low for last year?
Ooh, let me see. Hold on.
Maybe you do the low to the low, the high to high, and then you average those two numbers.
Not the median.
Huh?
Not the median.
No, just you average. So you're talking appreciation. So low to low, what was the appreciation? High to high, what was the appreciation?
And then average.
And then average those two numbers.
Yeah, I guess you'd probably be close enough, right?
Let's try it. Do you have those numbers?
Well, the problem I'm having is they don't give you. I don't have it, unfortunately.
We found the answer, and now we can't.
Yeah, the problem that I have is I have everything going back to November 2022 easily, but I'd have to start digging into the computer, so I'm not going to do that right now.
Okay.
But so we've actually seen the values of the houses, even though that it looks like we're still seeing year over year increases. To me, it really isn't true. What we've been pretty flat at around 600 now for 18 months.
Yeah,
pretty much is what we've been. So even though it looks like there's a lot of really great appreciation, we're not going down. But
and the shallow analysis would have been, hey, interest rates are going to continue to rise. What's going to happen with housing prices?
Go down.
They're going to go down. Like your gut reaction says, well, yeah, they're going to have to go down, right? Because there's going to be people priced out of price points, less buyers in certain price points.
Now, that's when all that cash come in.
Cash, baby.
Yeah. Part of that, or people just, stretching on their budgets. But what's the reason, Jim? Inventory has remained super
it's just
tight.
Slow, which is changing a little bit. So let's talk about inventory right now. Okay. So our inventory has been chronically low for, I don't even know how long. I can't even remember the last time we had normal inventory. But what normal inventory is 6 months. What that means is if no other houses go on the market, it would take 6 months based on the current sales average that's happening at that moment to gobble up all the inventory to get down to zero. That's called absorption rate. And so 6 months is an average absorption rate. If you go above 6 months, it's towards the buyer. It's a buyer's market. If it's below the 6 months, it becomes more of a seller's market. We've been as low as 0.9 months of inventory in South Florida and some of the places, right? Which is crazy, crazy, crazy town. But now for this month, we're at 3.9 months of inventory. At this time last year, we're at 3.2.
Okay.
So our inventory is slightly increasing a little bit. Partly is, and I said this the last time we talked about inventory increasing, is because the sales are so slow. It isn't necessarily that we're getting more houses on the market, although that's happening a little bit too, but it isn't a mad dash of people throwing their houses on the market. What's happening is, even with the small amount of people putting them on the market, the buyers, there aren't as many buyers as the houses coming on the market, which is raising the inventory rates. So I've been calling a lot of my sellers this week, explaining to them why the market's been so slow and what we're expecting for January. So there's a couple of our houses that haven't been getting many showings. I've got probably 10, 12 houses on the market right now. Some of them are going pretty slow, and they've been on the market 30, 40 days now, which is very unusual for me. But it's a function of the market of two ways. Number one, everybody went into shock when we got to 779. Tell me if you feel like this is true, Mike. But once we hit 779, it seems like that was almost like a knockout punch to buyers, where there were so many people that just fled and haven't come back yet.
Yeah.
Even though that we're seeing an interest rate drop well over a point from that peak, they still haven't come back to the market yet. And I really think that slowed everything down a lot, was the buyers just saying, no mas, interest rates are high, the prices are high, the type of quality of home I'm getting for that price is not what I'm expecting based on the mortgage payment I'm paying. It's not worth it. That's how a lot of people were.
Yeah, I feel like it's if you were a buyer active in 2023, you had a rough ride, right? With low inventory, prices didn't come down, interest rates were continued to climb, and so I feel like there was just fatigue towards the end of the year for buyers who were in the market, and as rates approached 8%, it was just like week after week, like, oh, worse. And so as you get to the end of the year, you might have just got pooped out on it. You just like, I can't do it right now. And then your brain mentally switches to like, okay, 2024, let's start fresh.
That's what I think
we will
happen.
see. Yeah. And so I think we will see activity pick up. And it's also like this time of year in South Florida, maybe even nationally, things slow down. They just do. They slow down towards the end of the year. The beginning months are always a little bit slower than, spring and summer when it kicks in. So, maybe that's just normal. People get to holidays and their mind is elsewhere.
I think
right?
this year, people sat on the sidelines more than years past, even for the slower holiday season. I've always found when I put my houses on the market during the holiday season, I get the same results, whether it's summertime, springtime, or wintertime.
Generally.
I generally get the same results, but this year I've not. And I've been talking to my coaching, because I am coached, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm doing exactly what I always do. I don't really change my systems in the markets that much. And I feel like I'm matching my systems with the market, but I'm not getting the results. And he's like, don't sweat it. What's going to happen is right after the beginning of the year, everybody's going to wake up, because they're going to realize the interest rates have held now for 9 weeks, and this might be a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that January is going to start getting much stronger.
Is this prediction time?
Yeah, we're kind of just predicting about the different segments. So I really feel like January, February is going to be much stronger than November, December of this year. And I think it's going to be a little extra stronger than January, February, because I think there's going to be some makeup time for the people that didn't do stuff in the wintertime that they normally do. They're going to do it in the January, February, I think.
Yeah, I mean, February is different than January. So in my world, if you're not already in contract right now,
Right.
You're probably not closing in January.
Right.
Right. Because we're, it's 30-day, pretty typical contract. So I don't see January being busy.
Well, the
as
reason
far
why
as
I'm
closings, unless these people are already in contract through December.
well, we're looking, we're looking at the reason why I said that is where is it? I lost it here. The amount of pending sales. The pending sales right now are up a
you see
little
that?
bit. Yeah.
People
So I
in
can actually
contract.
see that
Yeah.
are in contract ready to close, but haven't
Yeah.
closed yet. So this month, actually, it's not really, I'm incorrect about this. There is only 969, 969. Yeah.
Yeah.
969 pending sales. So actually January might not be looking much better than right now. Okay. Because just because you have 969 pending sales, that doesn't mean they're all going to close. Some of them are going to fall apart. So we're probably in the 900s again. Now the new listings, they have been going up. We started out at the beginning of the year, like high 1,400 homes put on the market, brand new every month. We got as high as almost 1,800 in March. November, we put up about 1,500 new homes on the market. Okay. Which is an increase of 12% year over year. Okay. But for the year total, we're down 13% for new properties put on market. That's
compared to 2022?
Compared to 2022.
Interesting.
So we're down 13%, but we were down over 30% when the year started. We were seeing 30% difference in amount of properties put on the market. So new listings. So
made a comeback.
We're starting to come back. And I think the reason
that's an optimist outlook right
it
there.
It is very optimistic.
Yeah.
We were much worse and now we're not as worse.
Yeah,
we're not quite
exactly.
so.
We started the year with 4,200 homes on the market. Right now, we only have 4,500 homes on the market. This is in Palm Beach County, only single-family home. If you look, just to give you an idea, in 2019, we had 8,000 homes on the market. Now we have 4,500, just to give you an idea.
Sure.
So there's a big difference there.
Which is why prices have not come down.
Yeah. Now, here's something that I thought was kind of fun. Okay. Closed sales by sales price. Okay. So how many homes in Palm Beach County do you think last month sold for under $50,000? I kind of told you guys this earlier.
One.
You got it wrong.
Zero.
Under 50.
Oh, under
50 and under. Zero.
What do you
right?
mean homes? Single family homes?
Single family home, Palm Beach County. There were 0 homes sold for under 50,000. 50 to 99,000. One, right? So I looked that one up. So let's look that one up and just see what
how many
somebody
square foot
bought.
was it?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So I want to look it up.
Square foot.
Square foot. Wait, I don't get it. What were you saying?
I didn't say square feet. I said square foot.
I don't get it.
Meaning it's small.
Meaning it's very small.
Okay.
It's not enough to have
square foot.
plural.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get it. I get
Assuming
it.
that
I
would
get
be
it.
It's
now.
like,
mobile home.
you know, what's the
So I'm going on the
some
MLS.
state invented the toothbrush. Did you know that?
The toothbrush?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a teeth brush.
Yeah, it was like West Virginia, and West Virginia invented the toothbrush.
The
By
toothbrush.
itself, that would be a toothbrush.
Because
And then another guy came up and goes, I'm going to do a teeth brush where I could do all the teeth and not just one tooth.
That's right.
I'm
That's
going to
right.
make the teeth brush.
That's what I have at home. I have a teeth brush.
Okay, so let me
Sorry,
do-
West Virginia. Love you. WVU. Go Mountaineers.
Mountaineers.
Go Mountaineers.
Okay. hold
Actually,
on.
almost.
We are Marshall.
Huh?
We are Marshall.
Yeah,
are.
also West
Yeah.
Virginia. Yeah.
Okay.
Thunder
Yeah,
and
keep
Herd,
talking,
right?
guys.
Take
I'm
me home.
almost, I'm
Take me
almost
home.
done here.
Chad Pennington, Randy Mouse.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I forgot. I saved it. Dummy.
West by God.
Crap.
Nice, Timothy.
What was that? Wheel of Fortune?
Wheel of Fortune.
That's what it sounded like.
It did.
Okay, so the one house in Palm Beach County that closed for under $100,000 last month was 720 Northwest. What the heck? This is wrong, but it's right. Okay, so in Broward
So
County,
wrong.
there was only one home also that sold for under $100,000. There was only one home in November that sold. It was in Margate. Okay, it's in the community called Paradise Gardens. It was a 1973 home.
Is this the one we're talking about?
Yes, this
Oh.
is
Do you
the
have the
home.
address?
Yeah, I do. 720 Northwest 74th Way.
It says it's active.
And I have status change closed because you're looking at Zillow and I'm looking
No, I'm
at
looking
the
at the MLS.
No, it says status change closed. I'm staring at it right
160
now.
720. What was it?
Northwest 74th Way.
In Margate.
There's an active listing for 169.
Well, they must be flipping it because right now I only look for closed. They must be flipping it. Let me look at the history. So they bought it for 71,250. Yeah, you're right. It's on the market for 169 now, but they bought it in December for 71,000. So they're trying to flip it for 169. Now the house is 861 square feet under living space, 14 under roof, and it's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, and that's what they got for 71,000. And the thing I'm wondering is, I never looked at the inside of the house. I just saved it. So hold on.
Always remember Florida Talk Real Estate is
thank you,
.com, your one-stop real estate shop.
Thank you.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
So let me
Doesn't
see.
look like they did anything.
Well, it looks like they put it on the market, and I used to do this when I was a flipper. Put it on the market as soon as you buy it, so that you can find your buyer ahead of time. But if you have an FHA buyer, Mike, you can't do that, right?
Can't do what?
Okay, so let's say that I bought a house today.
Yeah.
I want to flip it to
Yes.
somebody else.
Yes.
And I put it on the market, and the house isn't finished yet. But you come and you're an FHA buyer and you go, hey, I want to buy the house when you fix it up. When you're done, I want to buy it. And then we agree, we write a contract. So I know I got my buyer and all I got to do is finish it up and then you're going to close. No problem, right?
That's a problem.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
No, FHA has what they call the flip rule. So essentially, you can't flip a home, and as an FHA buyer, you can't buy a home that was most recently purchased within the last 90 days. So whatever the date that the deed was recorded, you can't even get into contract. Your contract date has to be after the 90th day. So 3 months, essentially. Okay. You can't flip it within the first 3 months to an FHA borrower.
So you always got to go under contract on the 91st day.
That's right.
You can't go on the contract before then. If you do that, the mortgage company is going to reject the
FHA.
Contract.
Basically, FHA will not insure that loan.
Now, this house was in pretty bad condition. It needs a new roof. The drywall was caved in on the house in the dining room. The house is in very bad condition. It needs a garage door. The roof, you could tell, is shot. Needs a paint job inside, outside, new flooring, new paint, new kitchen, new bathroom. Who knows about the AC? Frankly,
like
I
a
don't
winner.
think they're going to make a lot of money on this house. I wouldn't have bought this house for $71,000 and sold it for $170,000. They're going to probably put $45,000 to $50,000 in to this house.
But if they haven't flipped it, if they haven't fixed it up and they're just trying to sell it,
they're just saying, "Hey, come buy it." TLC.
Yeah, it looks like there was an
No,
estate.
they're not going to.
Needs
there was
a
probate
roof and
transfer.
full rehab. It's perfect
You know,
for
it's
an
funny.
experienced
The
investor.
realtor's. It's funny. The realtor is works at one of the very first brokerage I worked with it a long time ago. This brokerage is not stock full of full-time realtors. So have fun with that one. Okay. I would not buy that because that house fixed up is probably worth $275.
Okay.
Maybe.
I mean, listen, that's it's a candidate for like a rehab loan, like a 203K. So as long as you wait that 90 days, you can do that with a 203K FHA.
Yeah. So only one house in Palm Beach County closed for under 100,000. So let's go to the next bracket just to see. Now,
That technically wasn't even Palm Beach.
No, and that one wasn't even Palm Beach because I found the wrong one. Now, what about 100 to 150,000? I know I screwed that one up. 100 to 150,000. How many homes? We had
Single
900
family.
sales.
3.
We had 900 sales. So how many? 3? What do you guys think?
12.
6.
Yeah.
6. Right? Only 6 sold between 100 and 150. Now, 150 to 200. 900 sales. How many of them were 150 to 200?
21.
37.
40.
12. 12 homes
I was right.
for
I was right.
150. You were right if you
12.
moved the bracket.
That's right.
200 to 250 is 20. Only 20, right? 250 to 300, only 34.
It's tough.
Okay, 300 to 400.
Does this include townhomes and villas?
Nope, just single family.
So aren't those single family?
Nope,
You're saying
townhomes are called
detached.
townhomes and villas are called
Detached.
villas.
Well,
Yeah.
it's in the
I
in
know
the-
you're right, but I think they only count just single family here. So 300 to 400. Now we're getting up a little bit in price.
Yeah, I mean it's probably 200 something.
115, 400 to 500, 260, and then 600 to a million, 277.
Okay.
And then a million or more, 189 of the 900 homes. So about
Wow.
20%. About 20% were $1 million or more.
That's what's skewing that median price for the average home buyer, right? Like,
yeah,
we're just not like in the mortgage world. I'm not dealing with a lot of those, that's jumbo loan territory, and so it's a small percentage of my individual portfolio of what I'm doing. So
if you have a couple of $20-30 million sales that month for a single family home in Palm Beach County, it could really screw the numbers. Skew, not screw. Skew the numbers. Skew the numbers. Martin County is a culprit of that. They sell so few homes. Sometimes Martin County sells like 50 homes a month, right? So if one big sale happens, it just, Martin County's average, median sales price is $890,000, right? When it really is closer to 600 like Palm Beach County. So the sales, so when people come to me and they say that they want to buy a single family home for $250 in Palm Beach County, I'm like, well, last month there were only 32, 38, 39 homes out of 900 that sold under 250 in Palm Beach
And
County.
just because it's in Palm Beach County, I mean, that's going to be like Belle Glade and Pahokee and those areas.
And
That's
then
not like West Palm Beach.
Yeah, no. And there's going to be some super high crime areas and things like that you just probably don't want to live in unless you have to. So that's something. Now, the other thing is when people talk about this and they want to know about, I'm sorry, hold on here. Foreclosures and short sales. Everybody wants to know about the distress market. Distress market. And in Palm Beach County, there were only 7 sales last month that were foreclosures or short sales. We had 1 short sale and 6 foreclosures out of 900 homes. So less than 1% foreclosure or short sale.
Yeah. That makes
which
sense
right
too.
now is happening right now. That's what's normal. But the reason why I'm bringing it up, you don't know how many people keep saying that they want to buy a foreclosure or short sale. And I'm like,
They don't exist.
right now.
Me too.
I'm seeing, right. And I'm seeing a lot of advertisement on social media where these investor gurus are saying, get ahead and get into the short sale market and the foreclosure market before everyone else does. And I'm like, well, you're getting pretty early right now because there's nothing going on. But they're making it sound like there's this wave coming. And there's no statistics here to show this phantom wave that's supposed to be coming of all this bad doom and gloom with the market right now. I'm not saying that we can't ever go through that again, but there's nothing that shows that that's going to happen right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big precursors, of course, was people's inability to pay their mortgage, right? They just couldn't make the payment. But combine that with, high depreciation, right? If people, like the reason we have so little foreclosure right now, it's not because people don't get in trouble. It's because if they're getting in trouble, they have equity and they sell their home for a profit. Whereas before they couldn't do that, right? That's where it was turning. It was short sale. I mean, you know that. You made your bones, right? On short sales.
Yep.
But yeah, so the prediction would have to be, I think people are getting tight. I think definitely there are people who are, especially if they bought with these interest rates, maybe they were stretching on their budget, they're getting pressure on insurance. I think that we'll see houses coming on the market for people who don't want to sell, but they've kind of don't have any choice.
I think, and you know who I think is going to be the biggest group of that right now is the people who can't afford the insurance increases, right? So they have to put on the new roof or they have to do some kind of repair to the house to get an affordable insurance.
Yeah. Or even like this, you were talking about the 55 plus where they're going from 500 to 1200. And that would be another, that's because of deferred maintenance, but also probably insurance because they just can't get insurance that even meets like the requirements by law. right?
Mhm.
Which are different than requirements for lenders and everything. And those people, what are they going to do? They can't afford $600 a month more because of that change.
And I think that's what's going to happen. Those people are going to sell. Thank God, a lot of them, compared to when I started this show 12 years ago, a lot of them have equity.
Right.
So, like, for example, Maria, right? Maria, I talked about at the beginning of the show. She's selling a home that is in not great condition, but she still has a ton of equity in that house. Now, if that was 12 years ago, that house would probably be an upside down house
Yeah.
in most cases, right? And then we'd be struggling. How are we going to get her to get rid of the debt? She doesn't have debt. She has an asset there. It's not like a shiny star asset, a sparkling diamond asset, but it's an asset just the same, even in the condition it's in. So people aren't in as a desperate situation in that case. It's still sad because they're selling a house they really don't want to sell usually, but at least now they're getting a big fat paycheck when they do it, and they can reset their life. I have another couple, Mark and Elle, that are doing the same thing in West Palm. They're selling a house in West Palm. We're selling it to an investor for them, and they're moving to Tennessee to like do a reset. Now the house is not in great condition. Even the investors that came, several of them kind of walked away from the deal. They just didn't want to do it. But we were able to get them a very solid price, even on the condition, because of the way the market is right now. If we had tons of inventory, that wouldn't have been an option for them.
Yeah.
So sometimes this low inventory helps the houses that aren't as good repair to get the most money possible. So if you have a deferred maintenance home, meaning that your roof is super old or you got all these repairs that you've been kicking the can down the road, and you're feeling that you're overwhelmed and you can't do it, you might be able to do a reset and take the in today's market, because of the low inventory and the low choices for buyers, you may be able to sell that home, make a lot more money than you will in a different market, and then do a reset and try to move on with your housing in a different way. So we can do that for you. But as far as the distress sales, there really isn't a lot out there right now. You really have to go off market for that. There are ways to find people that are in trouble. There's things called like the 30, 60, 90 day lates, where you can buy a service that will show you people that are 30, 60 day, 90 day late on their payments, but haven't filed foreclosure yet. They call that the pre-foreclosure market, meaning that they might get in trouble. Most of those people, though, they usually fix their problem, and it doesn't go into foreclosure, but it gives you the idea of who's in trouble on that. And really, you'd have to go that way to find these kind of deals, to get the good deals
If you're trying
in
to
today's
get
market.
the inside,
Yeah, like
great
if
deal.
I'm talking more like for investors or
Yeah.
stuff like that.
You got the cash.
Yeah, and so that gets
So is there anybody out there predicting a doom market like that, like a
well, actually, yeah. So,
massive
well, not a doom
defaults?
market that way, but most of the economists are saying this. So we'll get into that right now. What they're predicting, most economists are predicting this. They're predicting that. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up at the same time. Okay, they're predicting that we're probably going to be somewhere in the mid 5s to 6, right? They're thinking 5.5 to
rates.
6, right? That's the general consensus. By this spring, they're thinking we'd be at 5.5 to 6. I think that's a little optimistic. There's one outlier in this. I'm getting this from Forbes magazine, where they interviewed all these different groups to find out what they think. So the National Social Realtors is thinking,
Oh, this is real estate agents making the prediction?
no, not real estate agents. These are more like economists that work for groups. I just lost the thank you,
link?
Bankrate, for screwing up my
Oh.
thing. Bankrate screwed me over.
Shout out.
All right, here it is. Hold on.
We lost Johnny, but he'd be saying shout out.
Bankrate, which actually is here in Palm Beach County. I can't open it up now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I kind of remembered it. So like the National Association of Realtors, they're thinking we're going to be in the low 6s, maybe the high 5s by this spring.
Okay.
That's general consensus of a lot of people. But oh my God, this is so bad. There's
that
one
kinda
or two
makes sense.
economists that are thinking 7 to 7.5%. So
Mhm.
there's some that are
I could
doom
see
and
that
gloomers
too.
that are thinking 7.5, and that's what I wanted to talk about, Johnny. I'm sorry, Johnny, I had to leave early, but what I don't understand is this. Okay, so maybe you guys could help me with this because I don't get it. So the reason why they've been raising these Fed reserve rate is to tamp down the inflation, which we're trying to hammer down to 2%. It got all the way up to 9.
Yep.
So now we're supposedly in the threes, and we're almost at that 2%.
Okay.
And then all the stock market people and Wall Streeters are saying, well, because we're almost down to that magical number, they're going to start reducing the Fed reserve rate number as soon as we get down to that number. Well, what's going to happen when they reduce the reserve rate?
Mhm.
Probably interest rates are going to go down, right? It
Yeah.
isn't guaranteed, but that's
Sure.
probably what's going to happen. And then what's going to happen with all these buyers that have been sitting on the sideline for 3 years?
Mhm.
They're all going to come back. How is that going to help inflation? The only thing I think that's going to do is fuel the inflation again. And then what are the Fed's going to do? Oh, we have
Yeah.
everybody's acting too crazy again. We're going to have to start raising the rates. And I think we can go into a ping pong situation, if you will, up and down, up and down, up and down, and not right now. It's been steady up,
Yeah, I
or flat. We had years for flat, 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 and then we went steady up.
I think people took this latest meeting where Jerome Powell basically said, we're kind of approaching where we need to be on inflation. We're ready to continue tamping down inflation by increasing rates if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
But our panel of people, we asked them what their prediction was, and they all basically said a 0.75 of a point drop in the Fed rate by the end of the year.
Right. 12
And so,
of them said that or something like that.
A lot of people, I think the sentiment was, okay, they're going to drop the rates by 0.75 of a point by the end of the year. Right. Which,
you mean next year?
Yeah. By the end of
by
2024,
which is what they thought was going to happen
yeah,
this year.
they'll have 1, 2, 3 quarter point drops as long as inflation is staying under control. But he also very clearly said, but if inflation doesn't do what we want it to do, I mean, it starts increasing again, then we're going to bump the rates again.
That's why I think we're going to get the ping pong. Because
Yeah.
as soon as the rates go down, we had a very strong Christmas sale. So apparently, what everybody said, right? This
The
Christmas
rate didn't
sales-
change, and people got happy. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like I can see the sentiment like overriding that what's actually happening in reality. So, but the one thing I think, like, how does inflation stay under control? Consumer spending just has to decrease, and it could be that people are getting tapped out, like they don't have the money to spend. So it could be that inflation holds where they've done it because people just are at the extreme ends of their budgets on household purchases, on their housing prices, like, their mortgage payment. People are just paycheck to paycheck trying to pay the bills.
Right.
And
Right
so
now, and
that
before
may reduce spending.
there was a lot of free money out there that people
Yeah.
got either through PPP or, a lot of that COVID money that went to
Yeah, and reserves, I
business
think,
owners and
savings are being eaten up, and people are starting to use their credit cards more. Or maybe they're dipping into their 401ks or whatever.
There was an article about the credit cards that
Yeah.
I saved it, but I just realized we're not on Facebook or YouTube anymore because it looks like my computer's dead. But I'm frozen. I can't do anything on my computer right now. So, but the article I saved for this was related to exactly what you guys are saying, which is we've had a massive increase or massive spike of people applying for credit cards right now. We're seeing way more people applying for credit cards. That's a sign that people are tapped out and they're trying to figure out how they're going to rob Peter to pay Paul.
right.
Right. So we'll see. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm just seeing if we're still alive or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like me and Ross are on. Yeah, me and Ross are on.
Oh, I'm frozen.
The Invisible Johnny's on. And
Yeah, Jim, you're
so
frozen.
we're still
I'm completely
it's just
frozen.
you. It's
Okay,
just
that's
you who's
good. I don't
frozen.
care if
you're
I'm
still
frozen.
there, Jim. It's not a really a great look how you got froze, but
It's terrible.
it's fine.
I mean,
It's
It
not
could have been
terrible.
worse.
Your hair looks
It's not
good.
It could have been worse.
But we are still live on the air, and we're still live on Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah. So who cares, right?
Assume,
So
yeah.
yeah, but with the credit card changes, Johnny's always looking for bellwether signs. So that could be one of the indicators,
Yeah.
things are coming. I don't know if this year is going to be as smooth. 2024 is going to be as smooth as 2023. And when I say as smooth, we had a pretty rough year for real estate. I mean, we lost tons of agents this year. I think we lost a lot of mortgage originators this year.
Not only originators, but
the support
staff, like underwriting and processing. They just, mortgage lenders were not doing as much business, so they had to contract. Payrolls had to go down. So
I saw where they were clawing back signing bonuses. Like a lot of those big companies, signed people, gave them a large signing bonus, and then fired them.
Yeah,
because you had anticipated production numbers, and then when that does, and you gave them money up front, and that was that one of the ways to lure high producing branches or individual loan originators was to give them bonuses to come over because you're expected to make money, and so
they did that to me at one point. One of the groups actually offered me 6 figures to move to their office. They were going to pay me to move my team to their office. They were going to pay me low 6 figures
as an advance, or just
if I stayed there a certain amount of time, I didn't have to pay the money back. They were just going to give me the money. Oh, it might be too late. This might be C-Ron, and I want to get C-Ron on if we can. But oh, it isn't? Oh, that's a bummer. I was hoping that C-Ron. So I'm going to just go ahead and say this. On our Facebook page, we have a thing for the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network.
Yeah.
Middle and Mitesh, one of my customers last month and a half ago, they told me if I did a good job on helping them find their new home, that they would give a donation to any group I chose. I chose the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network, and then I matched the money, and we gave them a $2,000 check, which was really nice. And they just used the money today, right now, from 10 to 11. It's happening right now as we speak. And they brought several of their kids that are in the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network, which is for kids with low income families. And what they're doing is they're doing a blues thing at a community center today, and they're learning how to play the blues. And all week long, it was a week-long thing of learning how to play blues. They're playing the harmonica and guitar blues, and they got all these famous blues people there, and they're working on it right now. And they're performing right now as we speak from 10 to 11.
Cool.
And we help support that program for the kids. And I'm just really, really happy. And that guy, C-Ron Allen, he's been doing this group now for over 30 years. And he's helped, I think, over 8,000 or 12,000 kids over that 30 years in the program.
That's awesome.
And just a really, really great guy. So, C-Ron, thank you so much for continuing to support the community. And this year, I'm making it a goal. We are going to help C-Ron's group get a 12 or 15 person passenger van, whatever that size is.
Sure.
They are desperate to get one of those passenger vans. So I think they only needed 2,500 would be 5%. So what does that come out to, like $25,000 or something?
2,500 is 5% of something.
Yeah.
So 50,000.
No, so that's too much. Yeah, I think the truck's going to be like 25,000, if I'm not mistaken. But
new,
I don't know.
That's inexpensive.
Well, actually, it is inexpensive, and I think they have a group that's willing to give them a discount.
Okay.
So we're going to this year really try to start funneling money to that group and see if we can get that. They need it so desperately. They've been around forever, and they're always on a shoestring budget. So I can't wait.
You've been
to
talking
help
about
them.
that for a little bit, so that's great. Hope
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
comes together.
I'm really happy that C-Ron is.
I think if your philosophy on charitable, giving is to some people's start local, that's a really, really great option, right? As opposed to some of those national or international organizations, right? So.
If I were to do an international company, what I would do is, and we've already supported this a couple of times on the show, but I would do Feeding America, which is now called Feeding South Florida. There's different branches, and part of Feeding America is Feeding South Florida.
Yeah.
I won either a state or a national award when I was working for the papers, doing a profile of Feeding America and how they collect all the money, how they collect all the food. And it's really amazing what happens with them. I remember one time one of the cereal companies made like 2 million pounds of raisin bran, like cornflakes and raisins.
Yeah.
But they put the mixer put in way too many raisins in the cereal.
Ooh, that's the way I like it.
Me too. Well, they didn't want to put it.
scoops.
They didn't want to put it out because they were afraid that people would get used to so many raisins in it. So they were
Tastes
going
so
to
much
throw
better.
the 2 million pounds away. They were just going to throw it away.
Well, they also probably
then-
remember those boxes will have all the nutrition labels on them, and
Mhm.
so if you
Oh, it would be
if you,
wrong.
if you screw up the recipe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So what they did is because Feeding America has this program, Feeding America keeps in contact with all the food distributors in the country. So when they heard about this 2 million pounds, they were able to get the food, not throw it away, get it, keep it, distribute it to all the feeding programs across the country. And the company gets a tax break for doing a donation. So it becomes a win-win-win. So Feeding America, if I were to do the national group, the impact on that's amazing. I think back when I was doing it pretty heavily, every dollar you gave them was equivalent to like 2.5 pounds of food.
Wow.
Yeah, they get really great discounts for the food that they raise. So anyway, if I were to do a national one, it would be Feeding America. But Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network is local. It's impacting kids' lives all the time.
In our community.
C-Rom was just talking to me how he had just met one of the people the kids that was growing up, and now they're in their 30s. And they're some kind of surgeon, like a specialty surgeon, and they go around the world and help kids that needs with special surgical needs.
Awesome.
And this is like a kid that was like a latchkey kid growing up, and through that program was able to get to college and medical school and everything else. So anybody that wants to help Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network, please give me a call. We want to do anything we can to help them. Okay, I was making sure we weren't being robbed or something.
Just some excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It's the end of year, right? Last day before
It
New
is
Year's
the end of
Eve
year.
party. Go ahead, Ross. Yep.
Yes, it is. And I
Still
can't open up my computer, so I'm just kind of going. What time is it?
We got
Let
2
me
minutes
see.
left,
minutes.
We got
About
2 minutes left.
Yeah.
So
What was your prediction again? I didn't get it.
okay, so my prediction
On rates. Let's just talk rates.
I'm thinking 6.5. I think we're going to be right where we are right now is where we're going to be at the end of the year next year. That's what I think at
next
the end of the
December.
year. I know that's different than everybody else is saying, but I think that there's so many ifs.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go through that up and down, up and down, up and down, and we're going to end up exactly where we are right now. That's what I think.
Okay.
Now, as far as prices, I think they're still going to see appreciation next year. I don't know how much though, but I think we'll see an appreciation year. That's a pretty soft bet.
Yeah.
Since we haven't had a depreciation year in a long time.
So we're not in the prediction game here, but let's say rates between 6 and 7% and flat or slight appreciation.
What do you think,
Boom.
Ross?
And insurance rates are going to level off.
You think they
and
are? Do
hopefully-
you think they will?
I mean,
They already have.
we're not
it's
seeing those
already
big increases,
right.
but what I meant by that is like I think we'll get some more options. We'll be able to shop
Mhm.
it with some more carriers down the road, and we'll see some more entering the market, which will make it a little bit more competitive.
Yep. I think next year is going to be more of a normal year, I think. As long as people aren't unrealistic about interest rates, I think we'll have an okay year. We got to wrap it up. We got less than a minute left.
30
This is
seconds.
Florida Talk Real Estate. This is the end of our 12 years on the show. We're going to start year 13 next week. I can't wait to do
Excellent.
that.
Lucky
Super
year
excited.
13.
Everybody have a great Happy New Year's, guys. All
Yeah,
you guys have
Happy
a
New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year's.
New Year to everybody. Thanks so
And-
much.
Yep.
Great
And
year.
wishing you the best, Jimmy. Happy New Year's, man.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Jim, Mike, Ross. Thank
You
you,
too,
so
brother.
much. And coming up after this is the locker room. I see Greek is in the bullpen. Joe is here as well. So we're going to talk about 4 hours of a little bit of college football, maybe some pros. We'll see what's going on.
Go
a lot
Dolphins.
a lot of headlines this past week too. So in the NFL world.
Oh
that's
my
for sure.
gosh,
So,
yeah. This week with the Dolphins is going to be very interesting with Lamar Jackson coming down.
Yep.
It's going to be
big game
big
coming
deal.
up there
Big
with
deal.
them taking on Baltimore.
Yep.
Up in Baltimore too. So that's gonna be a road game for Miami.
Yes.
A tough one for them.
Yeah.
So stick around, don't go anywhere. And we got the locker room coming up next here on Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7 on the Treasure Coast.
We're still your at work station, even if your work happens to be on the kitchen table. Bed. Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. A mix of sun and clouds today with cool temperatures as highs remain in the middle 60s. A clearing sky tonight, another chilly one too, with temperatures in the 40s and 50s across the area. Sunshine returns on Sunday with afternoon highs in the upper 60s and low 70s.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
The free iHeartRadio app has over